Welcome to The Vault at 201 North Broadway, podcast for innovators and problem solvers talking all things small business, entrepreneurship, and workforce development.
What does fly fishing, the love to give gifts, a passion for travel, and a Billings legacy salon and spa all have in common? One woman. An inspiring entrepreneur, a strong and respected community leader in Billings, the owner of multiple businesses in our community, Kris Carpenter.
Thank you to the Small Business Development Center for sponsoring The Vault at 201 North Broadway. The Small Business Development Center provides you with free one-on-one counseling, business plan assistance, marketing research, financial projection assistance, and more to small businesses.
Hey, Kris, how are you?
I am doing really well, thank you.
Oh, good. Thanks so much for being here.
Well, it's fun to be here with you, too.
Well, we're excited to have you. You're such a role model to us, so it's an honor to sit with you today.
Yeah, and learn from you and hear your journey.
Well, happy to share whatever you want to know. Just
everything.
Ask. Okay, fire away.
There are lots of things we want to learn from you today, but first we want to give our listeners a chance to learn about you. Can you share with us what it was like growing up in Billings?
Man, I have lived here my whole life. I love Billings. It's grown a lot. It's changed a lot. But, it's still the essence of it's a comfortable place to be. The community is so supportive of the people in it. And it doesn't have super highs or super lows. It's definitely got a nice rhythm. And I find that really comforting. I love the valley. I love the landscape of it. And it's just, to me, a really beautiful place to live.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Hashtag better off in Billings.
Absolutely.
I like to plug that whenever I can,
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually wearing a Boyd shirt today.
We were.
Better off in Billings. Fun. So growing up here, did you think that when you were in high school and graduating that you would stay, and that what were your aspirations when you were younger that then led you to be where you are today?
I don't know that I ever really thought about leaving. I mean, I went as far as I lived in Bozeman for 6 months, and I lived in Red Lodge, so that's pretty far journeys away. But I just have always liked this area. It's been home. My father was born and raised here, so it was home, and I never had aspirations to go somewhere. And I've always believed, after I started traveling, everything's just a plane ride away. So why not live here in this great place? It has a lot of what I need. Anything else I want, I can jump on a plane and get to and enjoy, but then come back to where it's home. So I've just never really had aspirations to go anywhere. So I just always found interesting people, things to do. Yeah, I don't know that I felt a lack here.
I love that. You don't always hear that, when you're talking about when people are like, oh, I felt like I had to go and then come back. But sometimes it's like if you just look at what you have currently, you don't have to think that you need to come back.
Yeah, I think for me, a lot of my life has been making things up. You sort of dream it up. Even as a little kid, I can remember playing with, blankets and tents and making houses and creating stuff. And so that's always been sort of my inner nature of just to create stuff and visualize what I wanted and make it. So I didn't feel like I was without even when we didn't have much. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of a nice place to be. And I still now find there's never enough hours in the day to do everything I want to do here. So that's
fun.
A good thing.
Yeah.
I love that. Forts. No one makes them anymore.
I don't know. We could try.
We could.
Some paper in here.
Watch our social, guys. You're going to see us build a fort.
Get some blankets. Oh, yeah, we can do it.
So what was one of those first things that you really built? Was Sanctuary that first thing? Can you tell us a little bit about that journey from before you even opened, what you were doing that led you to?
I was married to a rancher. We lived out a ways. We didn't have a phone until my son was 4 years old.
Oh, wow.
You know, I mean, I sound like a freaking pioneer, but almost.
Did you make your own butter?
I can make butter, but no, I didn't. I did learn how to quilt and cross stitch and stencil and do everything else you could do. You know, there were like 2 TV stations, so there wasn't a heck of a lot going on. So, you know, art was a real strong draw in my life of doing things. And when I ended up going to beauty school through a crazy means, because that wasn't anything I ever dreamed of being, was a hairstylist. That was never on my agenda. But I did a lot of art, and I learned that hair was color, shape, style, form, and it was really fun, and it made people happy. So it was just a different art form. And once I got into that, kind of my world changed. I worked for a salon in Billings for 10 years and had a great experience there. But I always wanted to do a spa. I went to spas when I traveled, and I always thought, why not in Billings? Why can't we have it here? So
And at that time, there probably wasn't anything, right?
No, if you wanted to have a spa day, you would go to one place to get a facial, another place to get a massage, one to get your nails. But there wasn't a full-on
One-stop
spa.
shop. Yeah.
So it was like, why not? And it was kind of a risk because I didn't know anything about business, and I didn't know what I didn't know. I knew how to take care of people and how to do the spa things, but I didn't know how to run a business. So I did it anyway, and I think I cried the whole first year every day. And it was pretty terrifying. And I got through it, and then I got help and learned how to fill in the blanks of what I didn't know, took finance classes, worked with a company that specialized in educating spa and salon owners on how to run a business and what a P&L was, and
Awesome.
all of those kinds of things, and I ended up coaching for them for a few years.
Oh, wow.
So it was quite an experience, but yeah, Sanctuary was the first full-on thing. I mean, I didn't even know an intent to lease was a binding contract when I signed that. So yeah, I did everything backwards. So if you want to know what not to do, ask me. I will help you
But
out.
you worked through it, right? And you
I
learned
did.
from it.
Yeah. It was, I'm very determined. That's one thing.
I was about to
you
say,
know.
yeah, you have to have determination. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I will work really, really hard. And I had a great group of people working with me. And that always makes it a lot more fun and, you know, makes the journey interesting. But yeah, it was quite a learning curve.
So how long has Sanctuary been open now?
24 years.
Wow. That's awesome.
I knew it was over 20.
Yeah, 24 years. It's pretty shocking to think it really is that long that we've been going, and we're still enjoying it. So
Yeah. One of the nice surprises is the heated robes.
oh yeah,
And then you go get a massage and you're like, oh, I'm going to put on this cold robe. And then they have it already in a heater and then it's warm. And you're like, oh my goodness.
I know, it's the little things.
I know.
It is.
It makes
But
all
how
the
did you
difference.
learn?
The massage was great.
They are. And the facials are so good too.
Yeah.
How did you learn, like when you're thinking, because you could do the one service, right? With the hair, but then.
Well, before I even did hair, I used to do facials on my friends. I would put a sleeping bag on the kitchen counter and boil chamomile tea bags and grind up oatmeal and do facials.
Ooh.
That was
wow.
my kind of a facial.
Yeah.
We burn incense and play Enya and do this
I
whole
love
thing.
that.
So I kind of knew how to make somebody feel good. I just didn't know really the science behind it or any of that. So I always had this longing to especially take care of women. That's my primary focus with my businesses is they're very female focused. And it was just fun to see, even with my friends, the transformation they would have. And to this day, nothing I love doing better than a shampoo. It's so fun to just make somebody super
I
relaxed.
love getting my hair shampooed.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. So, kind of just building off that, you can learn how to do any of these things, but it really takes a mix of, work with people who want to take care of people and understand how to listen to people and read what they're looking for and find what they really want.
So in those 24 years, what have been some of your biggest accomplishments with yourself, with the business that really stand out to you that you're like, because we did this, this, and this, like we were able to be this successful?
I think it changes in all the seasons. I mean, one of the things that has been so rewarding, it probably wasn't rewarding to me in the beginning, but later seeing all the people who got started with us and, went on to open businesses and things from what they learned, or even people who randomly will talk about some experience they had that was so special. I mean, there's nothing that touches my heart more than, having a special moment for someone happen there, whether it's a high or a low. It doesn't matter which, but that we're a space that they feel safe and they can come and be taken care of. So that probably overarching is the reason for my business, of just those little moments. I've never wanted to expand. I've never wanted multiple locations. That does not interest me at all. Mm-hmm. It's more about just having, a really focused team that cares about the guest and their experience. And so that's never changed. I mean, other things I'm proud of, we've done great fundraising things. We've been really involved in the community with different organizations and their fundraisers. But it's always about the people, really, for me. It's, seeing my staff grow up and seeing, their families grow and knowing that we built a business and they've been able to support and be, really strong members in the community, teaching them about volunteering, teaching them about giving back. Those kind of things, I think, are things I'm more proud of with the company that we've done. Mm-hmm. And that we're still on our feet.
Yeah.
24 years later. It's
exciting.
So we had a conversation the other day about the change in how you have employees currently,
right.
And throughout COVID, what that kind of looked like. Let's talk about that. How did that change how you think about your culture and build that up?
Yeah, I think COVID was the pause, and the gift of it was that people thought about what they really wanted on a deeper level than they ever had. And as a business, it took us a while to really step up to it, but really listening to our team and what they valued in creating a business that supported it. It used to be we created the business and would find the people to support the business. And it's a different world now, and it's more about really, really investing in and supporting our team. So we made changes into, we used to be open Saturdays, and now we're closed Saturday and Sunday for services. We have the store open, but the staff wanted that time with their families, and so we did it. And it was a big change, but what I'm seeing, the reward of it is higher retention. They're happier. We have super flexible scheduling. I call it kind of a holistic approach that we look at, here's what the business needs to run. Here's what you need. Let's figure out where we meet. And we kind of readjust. I meet with my team every 4 months, or every 3 months. We actually 4 times a year I meet with them, and we do what's called a hopes and dreams meeting. So it's, what do they want? What are their dreams? My job is to help them achieve it. So we just keep growing and working more on customizing things to make their experience be what they need in their life, teaching them some of the things and skills that they don't know. We've been offering some different benefits that we never did in the past, and one is a financial program to help them learn how to use their money better so that they can do more with it. And so things that are kind of different that we wouldn't have done before, we're really doing to just help them have a better life and the life they want. And sometimes it's working less. And that's been a big jump to figure out how to do it. But we're, with the messaging and with, living it, we're finding we're having higher retention than we ever had, which the old me would have never believed it was possible.
Well, and what a great strategy, and really being proactive in changing that to keep your talent. I know that, a lot of businesses right now are struggling with retaining talent and things like that, but knowing that your employer, like you guys, care. And I love the hopes and dream. Mariah showed that to me before, and I just think it's so cool because you really get to hear, I remember her telling me once, they might want a Louis Vuitton bag. And so then we look at here's how much of your paycheck each month needs to go towards that little bucket. So then you can buy that. So it's things like that you care about them holistically, that you can help them attain their goals that they have outside of work.
It is great. And I've even seen some of them have come like a couple of my massage therapists came and said, okay, I know I need to do this many massages to make this much at the end of the year. And they literally have planned out what needs to happen for them to hit their own goals. So it's really taken a real reversal for me, where before there wasn't a connection.
You were setting the goals. And
And now they're coming and saying, this schedule's great because this is what I need. I don't want any more time off, or I want this off, but I'll work here because this is what I want to make. And it's very, very exciting to see, that level of engagement.
It was so funny because we were just talking about this before you came in, but employees engage better if you communicate with empathy and compassion. And so sitting down and having those hopes and dreams conversations with them and giving them tools to have a better life, and listening to them on what work looks like for them, and what, understanding, hey, I need to do this many massages to make this at the end of the year. And then they can schedule their schedule around that, and then they have a good work-life balance. I think you're killing it. I think you've hit like a real big nugget in retaining workforce and understanding the workforce that are coming into the market now.
Yeah, and I think the bigger challenge now is to keep them excited about what they're doing, and kind of the next step is having them design more of what the business is going to look like in the future. Mm-hmm. So whether it's different services that they want to bring in, and things that maybe, haven't been in the area or aren't as well known, a little bit, more interesting, I don't want to say not common things, but interesting things that they want to grow in. And so it's kind of bringing in the education that they need for that, and always looking out for, well, I've always looked out for what's new and try to figure out, how does it work? And that's always another reason I love Billings. We don't tend to jump on those things right away. So I always have the advantage of going and checking it out in bigger cities and finding out what works and what doesn't.
Mm-hmm. And if you want to bring it back,
it's kind of a nice challenge in that way. Even with all the information we have, I still find it just takes a little bit longer to take here, and I use that to our advantage.
And then eventually it does, and you're doing it.
Yeah.
If it's like that's fun. And I think professional development with them, like new certifications or knowing how to do some of that, is so nice for them to probably as employees, feeling good about, and I can do this and I do this.
Yeah,
and
they have a stake in it now, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and nobody wants to come to work and do the same thing every day, ever. No. That's not fun. It's to come and, like, I do a thing called plan your day with them, of take a look at who's coming in. What do you want to have happen? Think about that guest experience. What else could you do today that would make it that when they were done, they're going to walk out and say, that was the best service I ever had, ever from her, and do it tomorrow. Because you can. It's kind of just teaching them to really, really focus. And, we can all do that in our day anyway.
Right. And like all the people we interact with, clients, people walking in the door.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I love it. I love that. I just love you.
I know. So, Kris, we know you've been traveling recently.
Yes.
We haven't talked yet about what led you to open your second business, as you had Sanctuary going, thriving, and then Joy.
Oh, I love Joy.
I love Joy.
I go into Joy and I'm always like, I love this store. It is so much fun to come and be in, and there's just not enough hours in the day. It's so fun.
It's so unique. I mean, you can go in there and you can get a gift that you wouldn't be able to find anywhere else in town.
Yeah, and I think for me, the inspiration for the store was, once again, women are busy. They don't have time. And I really wanted to have an offshoot that if you had to go to a baby shower, girlfriend's birthday party or something, you could pop in, grab a gift, wide range of price points. We'd wrap it. There'd be a card. You can come and find something great and then just go to the party. You don't have to go home, go buy a roll of paper, drag all that stuff out of the basement. Just that kind of stuff. It's time. Time is the gift there. But it's also having a fun experience while you're looking for things. So when I shop for the store, it's always, looking for things that are beautiful, smell good, feel good, but make you laugh, or might just, tickle your funny bone. And sometimes I have kind of a spicy sense of humor, so that's there too.
Your funny socks.
Yeah, we
They're
do have some
great.
things. And I love them. But it's just to laugh and feel truly joyful about it. That's really where it came from. And I remember there used to be a store when I was younger. They aren't there anymore, but I just remember going in and being so enchanted that they would gift wrap, and I thought that was such a thing. So for me, it's just kind of like that whole experience of being able to just do it in one place. And frankly, there's nothing in my store you couldn't buy online. You could, but it's the convenience and being able to go in and just have it in that moment that is always going to be our advantage. That right now they can't do it. At some point they'll be able to zap us with anything, but it won't be the same. Because I really discovered during COVID, people do enjoy coming in and having the experience of shopping.
Yeah.
It is not the same as being online.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
I'm a toucher.
Yep.
And
I touch
sometimes
everything.
You find things and I love that about Joy, because I just got some gifts actually for some people there recently, but I just knew, I'm like, I'm going to go to Joy of Living. I need these 3 gifts for these speakers or these people that gave us some information. And I don't know what I'm going to get, but that's the fun of it. I get to go look around and, see things that I might not even know really exist. But I know that I'll always have that fun experience shopping there.
And that's when, like I go to market, it's always like, I remember what people will say. I remember somebody came in and was looking for something really unique. It was something for my dad who's getting married his second time, and I want to get something to congratulate him. And I thought, what do you give somebody for that? And we wandered around the store. We finally figured out something, but it's always thinking of what's an occasion? What's another occasion? And people frequently come in and it's just like the spa. It's the highs and the lows that somebody wants to give something to show somebody how they feel. And, to be part of that connection it's just like the best. It's so much fun to just help people. Or when they come in, sometimes they'll be like, oh, I don't know what to give this person. I'm like, okay, let's talk about them. Tell me about them. So you get to have this really nice experience of discovering, what they appreciate about people. And so I take all of that information with me when I do go to market, and it's kind of like in at a level. And I've learned over the years, the first couple of years, Mariah and I bought everything we liked, and then we learned that is not how everyone shops. So we had to stop doing that because we had really great sales those years, and have started to learn and listen to what people buy is how we buy. So what they buy, I look for more of. And I also always look for something that I haven't seen. And sometimes they're great and sometimes they're bombs. But it's just always fun to keep trying. And so I just went to New York and to Vegas to 2 markets, and it was great. It's fun to see things coming back to life, and the markets were finally feeling vibrant and exciting again. So,
can you tell us a little bit about that? So, for people listening that maybe are thinking about a retail business or something like that, what is that market experience like? And then when do you I know some people are already have shopped for Christmas.
Yeah. So I go to markets specifically looking for gift. They have clothing markets. They have toy markets. There's a great Made in Montana market that happens in Helena in March. So there's a lot of different kinds of markets. And so you kind of have to figure out, you could go to 1 million and you'll never have enough money to buy all the stuff you want to buy. So you got to kind of have a good plan. I always have an open to buy plan when I go to market, which tells me what categories we're buying in and how much money I have to spend and which months it should come in. And it's the most boring, unfun part of the business because you don't want to be disciplined. And so, and sometimes I'm the worst. So I have a good inventory person who kind of keeps track of me. And usually Mariah goes with me, and we're a great buying pair because our age difference makes it perfect and our taste difference makes it perfect. So we have kind of a rule of, if I think it's awful, I'll give her a chance. She can convince me, or if she thinks it's awful, she'll give me a chance. But if it's a hell yes, if we both say yes, we always buy it because it's always a winner. But we kind of really respect each other's tastes, and so it keeps the store have a little broader range. But you just have to go in, and then you plan your day when you go there. You make appointments with some vendors that you're going to go see that you know you're going to buy their stuff so you can get those orders done. And a lot of times I'll do a lot of pre-work for those. And then I like to have enough time, especially in New York, to really kind of shop the show, look for what's new. And then I like to spend time in the city looking and getting inspired by what's happening, So I do a lot of walking around, and it's not always just shopping in stores. Sometimes it's just like walking through Central Park and seeing things you see. You just get inspired and get funny ideas from different things you see.
Yeah, what purses are women wearing and what kind of keychains they have or things like that.
Yeah, like last year I'm like, seriously, everybody has short puffy coats on? That makes no sense. Why would you wear a short puffy coat? You need something to but it's a thing.
You need something that comes down to like your knees.
Yeah,
here in Montana, when the high today is -2.
I know. I was like, covered. Anyway, but it's always fun, and make it a full-rounded experience by always eating great food when we go too. So
I love the
it's
food.
the reward at the end of a day. You'll walk
needed reward.
10 to 12 miles a day just doing the shows and as much as you go. But it's it's just a great way to kind of plan your buying, and then you think about what are you going to do with the stories of what you buy in the store? How does that play out? So, it was fun. And this year we hired a social media person to work with us, which we have never taken the leap to do. And she has worked with both businesses. And it was so much fun to see it through someone else's eyes and kind of learn, more about what you're even looking at. So
it was fun to watch. Honestly, I really enjoyed following you guys along via the Joy of Living social media Instagram account, because I'm like, oh, that looks like it's just, for people that have never seen it or maybe never really planned to be in that space, just to be able to see that through that platform's eyes. It was really fun to follow you guys.
I also think that people don't understand that like every card you hand pick, you hand pick each card that's in your store.
I do. And there's
a lot of cards.
There's so many
cards.
Don't pick. And no, but it really is. It's that kind of thing. We hand pick everything.
Yeah.
And so it's picking, is this the right color? Is this the right aroma? And how many do we want of whatever? It's always making decisions nonstop. Plus, you have to look at the mix of everything you're bringing in, because when trends are happening, everybody has kind of similar trends. And some years you'll end up with 5 white shirts that all look the same. And you're like, who bought this? Oh, yeah, that was me.
And then can you talk on that line of market, and then when it's in the store, and then some of those things that you end up doing sales on? How do you guys process all of that? And how do you know, like, I need to put this on sale for this much?
Well, you can run dating reports that tell you, when you should have turned over something by a certain amount of time. And, we're not always diligent on that. But there's also, I have a person, Linda, who's worked for me. She's my longest employee. She worked at Sanctuary, and then she worked at Joy, and all she does is the displays at Joy. And she's got such an eye, and she's so good. And she'll know when she's touched something way too many times. So, we kind of, I'm really familiar with the inventory. I love to go in the store on the weekend, and I will go through all the back stock. I will literally go through the whole store, because it's a thing you have to get to know and you have to pay attention. Mm-hmm. It's like stores don't run themselves. Mm-hmm. Businesses don't run themselves. And anybody who thinks you can literally walk away from business, a small business, you're crazy. You can't. Yeah. You have to treat it like a living being. Mm-hmm. And it kind of is. And
it's a moving, And
you can tell when you don't. And you know, it's not only your employees, it's the store. And it's not that I have to do all those things. I do it because I really enjoy it. But that's a lot of times, like I went in last weekend and pulled a ton of stuff to sale that I was like, oh, there's bits and pieces of this. I know what's coming in. So, you've got to get rid of stuff. I love to have sales. I love people who shop sales, because they'll come buy all the stuff I shouldn't have bought and bought too much of. And so it's a really good win-win. It really is.
And they're coming into your store, so they're probably going to see all the other amazing things that you have and be lured into getting some other stuff. Sometimes they do. You did mention something that's called inventory turns. And so for people who don't understand what that is, you know, how many turns you do of your inventory each year is how profitable you can be. And so healthy business has several turns a year. If you're only turning, one or two times, that's not always great. So come see us at the SBDC. We can help you understand that.
Absolutely. And that would probably be the biggest thing I would say that we didn't do in the beginning in either of my businesses, because I didn't even know what you guys really did in the beginning.
We're best kept secret. We're trying to break it out.
We're going to stop that. But it really was knowing that you can get help on these things. And so we have a program that we use that kind of goes through all aspects of small business that we kind of internally use. We've had coaches that help us, you know, when we first were really learning about how to do your open to buy and the inventory turns. And Mariah's a lot better at this stuff than me. I'm super the creative, and she's the go get it, hit the numbers kind of a person. So it's good.
Probably mention that Mariah is Kris's daughter-in-law and business partner. So when we keep refering to her, that's who we're talking about.
Mysterious Mariah, yeah.
Mysterious Mariah.
Yeah, she's a good contrast to my energy. She's got a lot of energy, but she manages in a lot different way than I do.
But how fun for you guys to, I think, you know, that's come up a couple of times in some of our episodes of, you know, having those roles and responsibilities and knowing I'm really strong in this area, and then I have this other person in the business with me that's strong in these areas I'm not as strong in.
Compliment,
I used to like everybody being like me. It didn't work very well. So we're really, really learning to build a team. We just hired a new manager for Joy that'll be joining us next month, and specifically looked for the aspects that we needed. You know, you kind of just have to work with people as they are. And when you can get the right group and the right blend, it works really well, and it's super fun. You know, we have someone who just manages the inventory now, and she's phenomenal. And without that, I couldn't do that. Mariah doesn't have time to do it. You know, it's kind of like learning what you have to hire out and finding the people to do it, just like the social media, which we kind of stabbed at and finally decided, you know, let's just do it this route. We aren't that good at it. We don't know how to tell our story, and let's find somebody who does. And it's been really, really energizing to learn something new. And that's kind of where we want to have every day be, let's learn something.
Well, and so then you guys can focus your energies on the things that you are really good at to keep the businesses going and innovating and adding new things.
Yeah, it's a lot of it's just a lot of fun. I don't know that I'll ever get tired of that part of the business. It really is fun. People always ask me when I'm going to retire, and I'm like, probably not.
I like what I do.
Well, and Mariah made me promise. She said, I'm not doing it if you're not doing it. So I don't know what we're going to do there. You'll have to watch out for her.
We'll watch out
for her. If I kick the bucket someday, she'll be.
Oh,
that's so fun. Well, one thing is, so being open for such a long time with Sanctuary, and Joy's been open for several years as well. What are some of the biggest things that you've learned about yourself in owning these businesses that have been open for a long time?
I think one of the bigger lessons is that I'm not the business, and learning how to make boundaries and how to make a life for yourself that does not involve the business, and how to start trusting people to run the business and let them do things that maybe you wouldn't do. And so that was kind of my break with COVID. That was my real direction, because I would give and take away opportunities from people. I hate to say it, but it's true. And really had to learn how to give up some things and also help people grow.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my focus now, is of really creating much better systems in the business so that we don't have to repeat things over and over. Like anything you're doing multiple times, you don't need to do anymore. Just figure out how to make it a system. And we've always had good systems, but to really fine tune it is my goal. So every day I look at, you know, like I learned how to do jot form, which I go crazy over technology. takes me a long time to learn it, but when I learn something, I get so excited. It is like the best of the best. So
What's Jot Form?
it's like a form. It's a thing that you can do, and so I did an online application. I've always wanted an online application, and we have a QR code, so you can just scan it, and I'm so excited. It's like
That's
QR
awesome.
codes are magic to me. I mean, I think that's like
I like that. They're pretty cool.
Yeah.
you know,
Still.
when people say, I don't know how to do it, I'm like, do you have a phone? Do you have a camera? I'll show, it's the easiest thing, and
tap.
it takes you there. So I get like stupid crazy over just learning a keyboard thing, something, but that's kind of my jam. I love those things, and tools like that make it easier. Like we just created a form for our team to submit things to the social media person of before and after pictures or things that they want to have on social media that she can do. So we have QR code that they can scan in the back room and send their thing, and they all have to do is fill out the information, upload the images. It's done.
That's so handy.
Yeah, that's super nice.
done. It
I'm
just-
like, what is that? I want that.
It stopped all of these back and forth things of people creating and recreating the wheel. So that's kind of what I like to see is things like that improving the business and involving the team now, because they don't have, I have to stop and think, how do they do things? We all have that email search as you go back and try to find things. We're sick of that. We're tired, overwhelmed by that. But I said, put it in the back room. They all walk through the back room. It'll be there. They'll know it's easy. Boom, done.
Yeah, available for them.
Mm-hmm. So
You're taking barriers away, right? So then it's a lot easier for them to submit those things. And then you have content that your social media person can use versus having to be in the space all the time.
yeah, well, I mean, time is our thing.
Yep.
We all want more of it, and we want to have more time to do the things that are meaningful in business too, and to focus, like I want to be able to focus on people and, what's happening instead of repeating the same message or sending the same email over and over and over and over till you want to slap yourself. And so I just think these kind of things to me are what makes it fun to still be in business. And so I get to now pick and choose what I want to do and what I don't want to do. And where Mariah difference for me, she likes to delegate. She likes to just get people doing stuff. And I'm a doer. So I give myself that permission that I like to go in and do things. I like to physically do stuff in my business. I like to touch them.
Yeah.
I like to be in them. I like, like I'll paint. I'll do whatever. But I just enjoy the space of my place. So, and I think it's a way that I can be with my teams too. It's really comfortable for me.
Yeah.
I'm not really comfortable with, just here's a bunch of tasks. That's not my jam. I like to just be around them, listen to them, see what they're saying. It's just kind of more of a quieter time. I still do a little bit of hair, and I love being on the salon floor for that reason.
Yeah. What's really nice is that you're in it every day. Being an employer and then being with your employees working, they see that, and it makes them want to work harder because you're with them instead of just telling them, right? And so I think that's a huge portion of building a culture as well.
And they're not seeing anything it's like you're not asking them to do things that you're not right there doing with them.
Yeah.
Or haven't done yourself. Like you're the one painting.
You're still shampooing hair and,
Yeah, and I enjoy that. And I'm gone a lot too. I do travel a lot. That's the other beauty of the business is it's given me the gift of being able to travel, meeting people all over. This weekend I'm going to Austin I'm actually going down and I'm taking a 2-day class that is a private class with one of the top hairdressers in the country to build a blow dry class for my salon for this new service that we're launching. So
awesome.
We brought in these Japanese shampoo beds that are incredible that involve this whole steam unit thing. It's wild.
I think we need to go get our hair shampooed and blowed out.
It's going to be divine.
Kayla and I will be there.
We'll be your testers.
I will.
We'll send videos to your social media.
Absolutely.
You
People.
can come. I will have you come and give us feedback. So it's kind of building something that doesn't exist again. And this is someone that I met through the salon industry years ago. And that's the other great thing about being in Billings and traveling. You can meet people. People will help you who are at different levels and share things with you that you would never have access to or know how to do. I mean, and there's a lot of things on the internet, but for me, it's really important to bring something back that's genuinely, I always have sort of a respect of where we're at in Billings as a community and not being better than, if that makes any sense. You know, it's like, yes, we want elevated, we want luxury, we want great things, but it isn't as if it's not just really approachable for any person who would want to come in.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's a real value of mine, that I don't want people to be uncomfortable coming into our businesses.
Yeah, you want them to feel welcome. You've talked a lot about that, which I really like. Really that hospitality of your customers and your clients and the community that does interact with all of your businesses.
Yeah. Our mission statements, we take care of you. That is what our mission statement at Sanctuary is. And it's really about whatever that means. So it really matters. But, you know, it's always looking for what's new. And even though this isn't particularly a new concept, the way it's delivered is very different, very intentional. It's my kind of dream to see our salon be a spa. Whereas we're really well known for spa. We do spa really well. But to bring the spa into the hair salon also in that kind of a service experience. So it's really fun.
Yeah, and it's so fun. I mean, having those experiences when you are getting even just like a haircut, to know like that's time for you, that those people are setting aside for themselves to just
relax, take care of themselves. And
yeah, I might have someone who gets their hair done twice a year, and this shampoo is the only time somebody's going to do something for them.
Yeah.
And
you want it to be special.
It makes a big difference. So we're really working on, we started about a month ago working on the process of training this and learning and studying everything we can about how to do this even better. So we're really launching it about May 1st will be our big launch for Mother's Day. And I'm super excited about it, but terrified because I have 2 full days of learn 7 blow dries on mannequins on Sunday. All day long, I'll be doing 2 all day long. Then Monday, I have 8 blow dries to do on models back to back to back to back. And I'm like, I don't work like this in a while. But I really believe for my team, it's important for me to go and get it and understand it's that thing of, before I ask you to do it, I mean, they would love to do it, but it's a little cost prohibitive to take the whole team down there. So it'll
and
be
you're
fun.
the consistent piece, right? Like you talked about, some of them decide to open their own salons and things like that. So if you can learn the knowledge and be that expert for your team and then teach them, that's so valuable for your organization.
And we're creating our own training videos with it.
Yeah.
So we're kind of doing it a step up, but to do it how we do it and make it very wearable hair for our area. That's relatable.
And proactive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's fun.
That's
I'm
awesome.
excited for May.
so you've, me too, by the way. Yes.
Really excited.
When we have to get some marketing information, like pictures and stuff, we'll be there. Yeah. So you've mentioned that you have the flexibility to do some traveling. You know, what are your favorite things about traveling? Where's your favorite place to travel? Are you like a beachy person, or do you like to go visit, areas like Italy or London? Or
I haven't done a lot of international travel. I really haven't. And that's probably up next. Well, I still have the gumption and interest in going, but I love New York. I go to New York 3 or 4 times a year. There's just something about it.
It's the pizza, right?
It's magical there.
Yeah, I just have my favorite restaurants. I always go to Central Park and walk, and
nice.
Just the whole concept that there's that many people, and I think it's the contrast of coming home and there's so few people here. I love New York. I do go to Austin a lot. I've been to Mexico a few times. I went and took some great classes down there in December.
Awesome.
Went to the Modern Elder Academy, which was really, really fun for me, of, what for people to do after midlife and how do you use what you've learned in business and where do you go with it. So it was a really great experience. I love water, and honestly, fly fishing probably takes up a good deal of my time. And it's hard to beat Montana though. It's some of the best fishing anywhere, and I just never get tired. But in June, I'm going to go to Cuba and saltwater fish, so I'm pretty excited about that experience.
That's cool. What got you into fly fishing? Because I know you're very good.
Well, I probably started about 12 years ago, and I think I knew not to do it when my kids were little because I probably would have left them at home too long and forgot about them. But I had to start when it was realistic. But I don't know. There's just something that just takes me over. It's being outside. It's so meditative. It's not so much about catching fish. It's about fishing and just what you learn about paying attention, the quietness, nature. I don't care if it's cold or it's nice. You figure it out. I'm at a point where I don't have tons of time, and I know just enough to be dangerous. So I love to fish with a guide.
Oh, awesome.
They can get you where you can't get. And so it's a luxury that I really do like. But, you can put me on a little stream, and I'm happy to try to catch some brookies or do something. But it's all catch and release. But it's a funny thing. I would have never known, 20 years ago that I would ever want to fish or be this crazy about it. But it really is my happy place.
That's awesome.
That's really like a nice hobby that, you just didn't think about.
Yeah, it's just so fun. Gonna go up to the Bitterroot in March and try to see if the squalla hatch, if I can get it. It's things, I care about bugs now that I always thought were annoying. They're now wonderful, and all the things. It changes everything.
I love that. It gave you a different view.
It did.
And Montana's so pretty, honestly, to be out in the water, and it's just like quiet and pretty. Yeah.
And it's so fun, and it's fun to have something that, is a little bit of a skill, but there's always just that little excitement. It's just a peaceful, wonderful way to spend a day.
Yeah. Well, something that's been on our mind lately has been family businesses and succession planning. Mm-hmm. We've talked a lot about it. We did a documentary, Edge of the Plains. I think you've seen it.
Yes.
And in it, we hear from Alicia, who owned Cream of the West, and she says, kids aren't working in the family business anymore. And so with that, we're seeing a lot of companies and ranches closed or sold because the kids don't want to take it over. What's your perspective on this, and how are you planning for, I know you said you'll never retire, but what's that plan if that day does come?
Yeah, well, I always am planning, because there is a plan in place, because I don't want to work as much. I have a new grandson, so I want to enjoy him.
So adorable.
I know. I want to enjoy him as much as I can too. So it's something though that I at one point thought you kind of got to, and you'd know. But I think the beauty of succession planning for me right now is realizing you have to have a really great business plan and a clean, tight business to have a nice succession plan or a sale. So for me, it's a lot around, it's taught me, make sure your books are good. What's in them, you can explain, that it all is solid, because if you're going to try to sell your business ever, you got to have several years of really good profit and showing that you ran it as a good business. So it kind of gives you a great incentive to pay attention, run your business well, don't get sloppy.
I like that. Don't get sloppy.
You know what it is. And, you also know as a business, there's certain things you do because you have a business, and you have to get real about what those things are. Travel is part of mine. Would somebody who had a business like mine have to travel as much as I do buying for the business? They might not. So it might be something you'd really have to consider if you really wanted to get top dollar for your business or things like that. But it's very fluid. And I think looking at your family to take on your business is, every parent's dream. Who doesn't want your kids to take over your baby? But you also have to realize it wasn't their dream. Mm-hmm. So always staying realistic with that. And so for me, it's not like there's a hard line thing of, they have to take it over. We talk about it a lot, and I'm really open with my kids about what we're doing, working really hard at giving them responsibilities that aren't mine, you've got to learn the financials. I can't do all of that stuff of really taking a look at it. But it's kind of like an annual review. It's like a health checkup. You just have to keep doing it, because I don't feel like their lives change, my life changes, all of those things change. So it's not like I want to do it right now. But I guess for some people, if you're hitting a wall where I want to retire by the time I'm 70 or 65 or whatever it is, you got to start making a plan. I just don't quite live that path. I see myself living a lot longer and working a lot longer because of it. And I think people need to be super realistic about, how much money you have to live to the end of whatever the end is for you. So I've just done a lot of work. I have professionals working with me. I've done business valuations and things like that. So I have an idea, and, and everybody thinks their business is worth more than it is to someone else.
We literally just talked about that this morning.
And everyone who wants to buy a business wants a better deal than you want. So it's really, you got to do your work. And if you every day just work at running it as a really good business, you're going to be so much farther ahead. If you don't have good books, there's nothing to buy.
Yeah, we bump into that with clients who are ready to sell, and you put that in, and the person trying to buy it, they can't cash flow because there's no profit there.
Yeah.
And so it makes it really hard to sell your business unless someone's coming in with straight cash and they want to take that risk, right? So.
And many times they could go do it themselves for that amount of money, or, as well as. So you just have to, you really have to, I always learned, if you can't prove it on paper, you can't prove it.
Yep.
It's just in your little
the
heart.
numbers don't lie.
So, it really is, you have to have those aspects done. Have a good accountant, have a good bookkeeper, keep your books. Oh my gosh. And I've learned the hard way, everything. So I just really do know, and you have ups and downs in business, and some years aren't the years to do it.
Yeah.
You have to work things out. And also, when you're in a business that's heavily reliant on who your employees are, you have to have a lot of things in place to have anything that somebody would want. You have to have training manuals, you have to have protocols, you have to have all those kinds of things so that someone would be able to come in and buy and run the business. And that takes time, and it isn't the fun stuff.
Yeah.
But
it's not market.
But if you just work at it a little all the time, you can put it together. So I guess, back to the succession planning thing, I just feel like you have to first figure out what you want. What do you want? What do you want your life to look like? So I get what I want in my life pretty much with my businesses right now. So it's quite nice. If something were to happen, have other backup plans. But it's, right now, it's a good life.
That's awesome. I love that.
We love your businesses too. They're so fun.
They are a ton of fun.
They are.
I haven't been to them.
I'm not gonna work this hard if I'm not having fun.
Right, which I love, because you're so passionate. We can just tell by how you're talking about them, which is just makes me want to go.
People can't see this, but she's not stopped smiling the whole entire time.
But that's life. I mean, I won't be on a board if it isn't fun.
Right.
If they don't get things done and have a good time while they're doing it, I don't want to be on a board.
Yeah.
I don't want to be in an organization. And I don't want to be with people who don't want to get something done and have fun.
Yeah.
It's just kind of core to having a good life.
Yeah.
You can
Keep
choose.
moving forward.
You can choose.
And have some fun. I think incorporated in always is
It is
helpful. Yeah.
I love that.
It's been so fun having you with us today. It's such a joy. And
you see what we did there? Such a joy.
Before we end each episode, we ask our guests a round of 3 rapid fire questions. So, as a small business owner, what's the best tip you've ever received?
Best tip.
Or one of the best.
Yeah. I think for me, it's take care of your people. Take care of your people.
I love that.
That's great. It truly is one of the most important parts, because your people are your employees, and if you take really good care of them, then they take care of your customers, right? Which is all around what you're wanting to do with,
Your
businesses. So
I mean, they are the business. They
Yeah.
really are. That's that is the thing. And
doing the day-to-day, meeting with customers, clients.
what gets you going in the morning?
I'm a morning person. I get up about 5:15 every morning, and I have my routine. I have my green drink. I make my coffee. So after workout, I go to the gym, and then I have my coffee, and that's kind of. I get up ready to go. I usually listen to a podcast when I'm getting ready in the morning, different ones, and.
Hopefully we made the list.
Yeah, I've listened to yours. I have listened to yours. I love business ones, to tell you the truth. I love anyone who, Simon Sinek, Jenny Blakely.
Yeah.
I just have a lot of different ones that if I can learn something that's interesting, and that's where I do learn a lot of things. I'll hear about some app or, some class or something, and I find it really, really inspiring. I listen to a lot of audiobooks too, and so things like that's kind of my morning groove. And sometimes I'll go to work or, be doing something, but my days are always different. I sort of have a rhythm, but it's pretty loose. We plan Wednesdays are our meeting day. So all morning Wednesday, we have all of our meetings back to back. And other than that, yeah, I just sort of see what is exciting and
Morning
what
person.
rolls. I
like that. I like mornings too.
I blocked off a lot of time in my calendar this year. I blocked off Mondays and Fridays
Oh,
and
good
just
for
said
you.
I can do whatever I want with them, but I don't fill them up with things now. And that's been a big shift.
I like that
awesome.
a lot. Because they're like, you're starting your week or wrapping up, and they can just be crazy days.
Once you have a meeting, everything else sticks around it. You start piling up everything against it. So I kind of have learned it's that creative time that you have to do really good work.
I love it.
So,
Okay, last question. I'm very excited about this one.
okay.
What's your favorite shoe in your closet?
My favorite shoe?
Yes.
Shoe.
And it could just be like, winter or...
Well, I have one of my favorite pair of shoes on right now.
Ooh,
Very cute.
I bought these in New York one day. They're shiny patent leather boots that are hilarious because I would never buy patent leather, and they've been so fun to wear.
Oh,
I was looking at them when you came in, and I was
know.
like,
I
those are
noticed
some
them on the
nice
stairs,
boots.
and I was
Yeah.
like, Chris
They're-
looking so chic
they're-
always.
I try to keep my creepy to
They're
to
my
a minimum.
They're kind of my happy shoes, and I go for comfortable shoes. So
And they remind you of your favorite place.
I know, and I bought them at Nordstrom's in New York, and they have a bar. So
Oh.
you can have a glass of wine after you buy a pair of shoes. Doesn't get better than
That
that.
sounds
Or
like a win.
before, and then you make
Either way,
your shoe purchases, and you don't feel so bad.
Exactly.
That would be my method.
I know.
They actually have it in Seattle and in New York. It's a
Ooh,
thing. So
that's great.
It's the other things you learn when you travel that you didn't know.
But you could, the fun things that you implement or
My
just learn. Yeah.
my aunt showed me Nordstrom, and then she showed me Nordstrom the Rack, and I've been obsessed ever since I was a child.
Well, there you go. It's a thing.
It is.
It's a thing.
Chris, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your business journey, all the tips and tricks that you've learned throughout the years. We really appreciate working with you. You're an amazing partner to the Small Business Development Center. You're always here for us. And so we're always grateful to learn more about you and share your story.
It's been so fun. Thank you, Chris.
Thanks for having me. And if you ever need anything, just let me know.
Thank you for joining. You can find the resources and tools mentioned in today's episode at thevault201.com. If you like this episode, be sure to subscribe and share with a friend.
Thank you to Big Sky Economic Development for supporting The Vault at 201 North Broadway. Big Sky Economic Development provides leadership and resources for business creation, expansion, retention, new business recruitment, and community development.